57 light-years away, suspended in the freezing, absolute dark of the constellation Virgo, hangs a monstrosity masquerading as a miracle. It is known casually as the Pink Planet, but its formal designation, GJ504b, carries the cold, clinical indifference of the cosmos. For over a decade, this massive anomaly, 25 times the bulk of Jupiter, has drifted on the razor-edge boundary between a giant world and a dead, failed star. It is a phantom that ground-based telescopes could never fully grasp, a dim, freezing ghost radiating a balmy 550 degrees Fahrenheit. But when the James Webb Space Telescope finally pierced its shroud, the universe did not yield a sanctuary. It revealed a nightmare. The spectrum of GJ504b did not make physical sense until astronomers injected a terrifying variable into their atmospheric models, clouds made entirely of vaporized metal salts. Imagine a sky not of life-giving water, but of blinding, crystalline white suffocating a deep, bruised magenta core. This is a world where the very air is a corrosive, mineral poison, a choking saline fog that smothers the deeper, darker secrets of its interior. The visual of a soft, pastel pink planet is a cosmic deception. Up close, it is an oppressive, violently hot pressure cooker of salt storms, howling through an atmosphere rich in heavy, metallic elements that should not exist in these quantities. The human mind recoils at this discovery because it shatters our deeply ingrained, terrestrial vanity. We look to the stars hoping to find reflections of our own blue oasis, but instead, we are confronted with the deeply unnatural. A pink world wrapped in salt clouds is a visceral insult to our biological expectations. It evokes a primal, existential dread, the realization that the universe is not a nursery waiting for us to inherit it, but an endless, hostile gallery of the grotesque. GJ504b is ancient, nearly 4 billion years old, drifting in silent, sterile isolation long before our oceans were even born. It reminds us that nature's laws are vastly more alien, indifferent, and terrifying than our small minds dare to comprehend. We are not looking at a planet, we are looking at a monument to our own cosmic insignificance, wrapped in a shroud of salt. 57 light-years from your warm, familiar sun, the darkness of the cosmos is broken by a sight that feels like a fever dream. A massive world, hanging in the void, glowing with a surreal, radioactive magenta. This is GJ504b. To the human eye, it is a vision of haunting, toxic beauty, a giant sphere of deep, pulsing pink wrapped in a suffocating, vaporized fog of molten salt and crushed silicate clouds. It shines not from reflected starlight, but from its own suffocating, youthful heat, bleeding infrared energy into the freezing vacuum like a freshly severed artery. But do not let its mesmerizing hue deceive you. This planetary anomaly is a cosmic crime scene, an impossible relic that defies the very laws of physics we have written to understand the universe. According to every model of planetary birth, this world should not exist. It sits in a dead zone of space, drifting 44 times further from its host star than Earth does from the Sun. At this staggering, frozen distance, the slow, agonizing process of core accretion, the gradual gathering of dust and rock over millions of years, could never have gathered enough material to form a gas giant. Yet, it is far too small, too lightweight, to have been born from a sudden, violent gravitational collapse of the surrounding nebula. It is a phantom. A cosmic misfit that bypassed the rules of creation. As NASA scientists peer into its glowing pink atmosphere, they are not just looking at vaporized salt and exotic chemistry, they are staring into a mirror of our own scientific ignorance. Did it form closer to its sun, only to be violently hurled into the outer darkness by a sibling world? Or is there a deeper, darker mechanism of planetary birth that we are entirely blind to? GJ504b drifts through the silent abyss, a beautiful, toxic nightmare screaming a silent truth. The universe does not care about our models. It does not play by our rules. We are merely children looking through a glass darkly, trying to map an infinite ocean of chaos with a broken compass. And out there, in the dark, the pink planet glows on, a monument to everything we do not know, and perhaps everything we were never meant to understand. Look closely at the screen. What do you see? A cosmic cherry blossom. A delicate, glowing orb of soft magenta suspended in the velvet dark. It looks like a sanctuary. It looks like peace. But in the cold, calculating language of biology, there is a word for this: aposematism. On Earth, the most vibrant pinks, the most dazzling, iridescent hues do not invite a touch. They warn of death. The neon skin of the poison dart frog, the bright, deceptive petals of the sundew, they are nature's warning signs. The universe, it seems, speaks the very same language. This is the ultimate siren trap of the cosmos. We are creatures of light and beauty, biologically hardwired to seek out warmth, drawn to the soft glow of this celestial mirage like moths to a flame. But to cross the threshold of GJ504b is to enter a masterpiece of absolute horror. Imagine descending through that beautiful, blush-colored haze. The pink you saw from orbit is not a soft cloud of gas. It is a suffocating shroud of superheated, vaporized salt storms, shrieking through the atmosphere at supersonic speeds. As you fall, the air itself turns to liquid fire. The heat is so intense it doesn't just burn, it melts the very concept of human technology. And beneath those swirling, toxic pink clouds lies a gravity so crushing, so immense, it would flatten your bones into dust before you could even scream. It is a gorgeous, glowing tomb. This is the terrifying subtext of our search for the stars. We look into the dark, desperate to find something that welcomes us, something that mirrors our own dreams of beauty. Yet the cosmos answers with a cruel, glittering irony. It reminds us that in the deep, silent expanse, the things that look the most like heaven are almost always the most violent hells. We are captivated by the pink planet. We stare at its brilliant, foreign light, hypnotized by its elegance. But the universe is not a garden. It is a predator. And GJ504b is its most exquisite lure, waiting silently in the dark, reminding us that the ultimate price of curiosity is to be beautifully, utterly consumed. 57 light-years from our fragile sanctuary, the James Webb Space Telescope has pierced the shroud of GJ504b, the infamous, bloated carcass known to science as the pink planet. What we once imagined as a harmless, pastel curiosity has dissolved into a monument of cosmic dread. This is not a world of soft cotton candy hues, but a massive, 25 Jupiter mass nightmare hanging on the precipice between planet and dead star. Its light is a deceptive, blood-warm illusion filtering through a choking, toxic sky. But it is the chemistry of this atmosphere that has truly paralyzed the scientific community. The data does not lie. The pink planet is wrapped in towering, suffocating clouds of solid salt. Close your eyes and imagine the sheer, suffocating horror of that sky. Here, there are no soft, life-giving rains. There is no gentle vapor. Instead, the atmosphere is a grinding, kinetic meat grinder of billions of trillions of crystalline mineral shards, swirling through a hot, heavy gloom of 550 degrees Fahrenheit. The air itself is abrasive, a dry, caustic fog of vaporized sodium and chloride, tearing at anything that dares to cross its path. It is a world perpetually seasoning its own vast, empty grave. As we stare into this pink, crystalline abyss, a deeper, more terrifying realization begins to crystallize within our own minds. If the cosmos can conjure a world where the very air is made of salt, then what other unthinkable, horrific deviations from our biology are currently drifting in the dark? We pride ourselves on being the center of the universe, believing that water, carbon, and oxygen are the universal templates for existence. But GJ504b stands as a towering, indifferent monument to our own insignificance. The universe does not care about our comfort. It does not design worlds to be conquered, inhabited, or understood. It builds them out of spite, out of pressure, and out of elements that would strip the flesh from our bones in a fraction of a second. The pink glow of GJ504b is not a welcome beacon. It is a warning. A cosmic skull and crossbones painted in shades of magenta and salt, whispering a terrifying truth into the cold, empty vacuum of space: you do not belong here. You never did. And in the grand, silent theater of the cosmos, your existence is nothing more than a fragile, fleeting anomaly, waiting to be ground to dust by the indifferent winds of a foreign, salty hell. 57 light-years from our fragile sanctuary, suspended in the freezing, absolute dark of the Virgo constellation, hangs a cosmic aberration. We call it GJ504b. To the eyes of our most advanced machines, it appears as a bloated, glowing sphere of deep, sickening magenta. A colossal, 25 Jupiter mass phantom that defies the very laws of planetary genesis. It drifts on the razor-edge boundary of reality, too massive to be a mere planet, too cold and dead to ignite as a star. It is a planetary mass companion, a failed, bloated corpse of a sun that never breathed its first breath of nuclear fire. For a decade, this planetary specter remained a silent, blurry smudge on our instruments, hiding its secrets in the freezing void. But when the James Webb Space Telescope pierced its thick, infrared shroud, the universe whispered back a truth far more terrifying than the dark itself. The magenta glow is not a trick of light. It is a mask. Within its gargantuan atmosphere, at a balmy, suffocating 550 degrees Fahrenheit, Webb detected something deeply unnatural. The light escaping this world was being distorted, choked, and filtered by colossal, towering clouds of vaporized mineral salt. Not water, not ice, but crystalline salt, ground into a microscopic, suffocating fog that blankets the entire globe. Imagine a world where the very air you breathe is a corrosive, saline dust storm, refracting the dim light of a dying sun into a perpetual, blood-pink twilight. This is a chemical nightmare on a planetary scale. The computer models designed by our finest minds broke when they first analyzed the data. The physics didn't make sense. The atmosphere was choked with an impossible abundance of heavy metals, elements that should not exist in these quantities on a world so far from its host star. It was only when we added these monstrous, suffocating salt storms to our simulations that the terrifying reality snapped into focus. The magenta anomalies of GJ504b are a grim reminder of our own cosmic insignificance. We look up at the stars searching for mirrors of Earth, hoping to find oceans of blue and clouds of white. Instead, the deeper we peer into the abyss, the more we find that the universe does not care for our comfort. It spawns colossal, salt-choked titans that drift through the eternal dark, bathed in a sickening pink glow, whispering a silent, terrifying truth: we are entirely, utterly alone in a cosmos designed to destroy us.